Prologue. I am an earthling from a civilized society. This was the mantra I repeated whenever I had a moment. I am from a civilized society, cough cough. If I hadn't kept reminding myself of that, I might have gone mad. Oh dear, Mr. CO. My mother sent this for you. Thank you. Not at all. Please get well soon and make some more soap. The daughter of the Jew family next door places a basket of boiled potatoes beside me and hurries back to her house. 50 years. It's been 50 years since I fell into this cursed world. Cough, cough. I lie down, coughing. Yes, it was the day we were going to a company workshop. I was on my way to the workshop with Director Kim and other company employees. We were swept away in a landslide, and when we came to our senses, we found ourselves in a strange world. A fox as big as a house with 3 tails. A large red-scaled snake with 2 heads. And beings wielding swords, flying through the sky. It was a world like the martial arts novels I occasionally read. Although it was a strange world, we adapted well. Most of my colleagues probably did quite well. Except for me, Director Kim, Chief O, Section Chief Jaeon, Deputy Manager Kong, Deputy Manager O, and Manager Kim, who were in the same car. Within 3 days of arriving in this martial world, Section Chief Jaeon, Deputy Manager Kong, and Chief O caught the eye of the seniors of Cultivation Sex and became their disciples. Deputy Manager O was taken away by a man from a mysterious background on the 4th day, claiming her as his kin. And Manager Kim was taken away by an old man riding a giant mechanical puppet on the evening of the 4th day, after he noticed Manager Kim's unique abilities. Eventually, everyone except for Director Kim and me were chosen by some cultivation sector cultivators. But for some reason, Director Kim had a natural talent for martial arts. He didn't learn cultivation methods, but after working menial jobs with me for 6 months, he bought a third-rate martial arts technique from a street vendor, and with his tremendous talent, he became a top-notch master and left for the martial world. 10 years later, I heard he had become one of the top 10 martial artists in the world. 20 years later, he was known as one of the top 3 masters in the martial world. And after 30 years, he became the number 1 in the world, established the Wulin Alliance, and became its first leader, then disappeared after stabilizing the martial world for 10 years. Rumors say he ascended to a higher realm. Just like that, 3 of the 7 who fell into this world of martial arts became disciples of famous cultivation sects. 1 became the kin of a strange man. 1 was recognized for her talent by a monster. And 1 unleashed his martial arts talent. Everyone had a happy ending. Except for me. Cough, cough, cough. I have no talents, qualities, or special abilities. Section Chief Jaeon, he was born with a special constitution called Heavenly Golden Thunder Body. Deputy Manager Kong also awakened a special root called Ghostly Yin Transforming Immortal Root. And Chief O had a body known as Unique Holy Body. And on the 4th day, Deputy Manager O awakened a strange ability to summon the rain and clouds. After Deputy Manager O left with the man with mysterious origins, Manager Kim also awakened a unique ability to see everything within a 10-mile radius even with her eyes closed. Director Kim and I were amazed by these fateful encounters and special privileges from another world. We too were left behind, hoping that something similar would happen to us. But neither Director Kim nor I gained any special roots or unique abilities. In the end, without knowing anything about the situation in this world of martial arts, the 2 of us worked menial jobs in the marketplace for 6 months. And on the 6th month, Director Kim couldn't stand living like that anymore, spent all his savings on a third-rate martial arts skill for physical strength, and learned it. In 3 months, he mastered the martial art and became a martial artist. After becoming a martial artist, Director Kim worked at a courier service, learning more advanced martial arts, and quickly became a powerful warrior, leaving for the martial world. Leaving me behind. I, too, hoped that maybe I would have some fateful encounter. Discover hidden talents, awaken a unique ability, or develop a special spiritual root. I lived in this world with that small hope. But 10 years passed, 20 years passed, 30 years passed, nothing happened to me. 40 years passed, 50 years passed. Cough, cough. I am just an old man dying of a cold. I am, Earth, Earth. Now, just so I don't forget that I'm an earthling, I babble to the air. A noisy old man I've become. Huff, huff. Why did we come to this world? Why did they all awaken unique bloodlines, roots, abilities, and talents? Why didn't I? Did I gain nothing after all? For 50 years in this world, I learned the language. Learned to read and write, worked as a laborer, and barely managed to settle down. Made a living by making soap from lye. The soap was useful for the people of this world, which wasn't much different from medieval China, but after some thieves stole the method of making my soap and started producing their own, my soap barely sold anymore. So, in addition to making soap, I had to forage for medicinal herbs, brew liquor, and take on all sorts of odd jobs to survive in this world. I was overwhelmed. For some reason, I can't stop the tears from flowing. Why, me? Was it simply because I wasn't chosen? No, it wasn't that. Even though I wasn't chosen, even though I wasn't a special human being, I used everything I could and lived my life to the fullest. My past life briefly flashes before my eyes. The difficulty of learning the language of this world. The struggle to learn to read and write. The hardship of earning money to buy a small piece of land. The difficulty of building a house on that land. Settling down in the village and getting to know the villagers. Applying my knowledge from earth to make and sell soap. Even setting up a small soap shop. But after a few third-rate martial artists stole my soap-making technique and opened similar shops, no one but a few regulars came to my shop anymore. After that, life got harder, and I had to gather herbs and chop wood. Just when life was stabilizing, bandits raided the village and took all my money. I spent my days doing all sorts of odd jobs, barely scraping by. Why did I, who worked so hard, have to be robbed? In this world, I did my best. But this world denied all my efforts. What do you want from me? I shed tears of injustice, sniffling softly on my bed. It's winter today. I am sick with a cold. My body is as weak as it can be. My eyes are closing. If only I had more opportunities, even just a little. In the cold winter, I lie in bed, sick with a cold, ending my persistent life of 50 years. That was my first returned regression. Cough, huff. I open my eyes and hastily get up. I can clearly feel it. The moment I closed my eyes and lay on the bed, slipping into darkness. The moment when the life in my body grew cold and passed away. I had died. But why am I alive? Startled. Even as I speak, I am surprised for a moment. This voice. I slowly look down at my body. It isn't a handful of wrinkles and lines. It's a young hand, full of vitality and life. I am wearing something clearly different from the clothes of this world. The blue shirt and sweatpants I had worn on Earth. I look around, trying to grasp the situation. Oh my, do ya? What's happening? Where am I? Director Kim, Chief O, Section Chief Jaeon, Deputy Manager Kong, Deputy Manager O, Manager Kim. I realize, I've returned regressed, and at the same time, I know. Shiver. I hadn't come to this world without any abilities. I have awakened the ability to regress return. Chapter 1. Regressor's First Day. What's happening? We were just on our way to a workshop. Director Kim, with half his hair scraped off, looks around and stands up. I try to recall my memories, figuring out where we were in time. The first day. It's the first day we landed in this bizarre world. I remember how we ended up here. We were in an SUV, going to the workshop, then a landslide. We got caught in a landslide, and then something flashed suddenly. It's a 50-year-old memory, so it's a bit hazy. I can't remember clearly. Hey, Deputy Manager CO. Now that I've regressed, how should I live? Deputy Manager CO. Usually, in regression novels, people live well using their future knowledge. But all I know about the future is trivial stuff like Mr. Ju's daughter being born 30 years later. CO Eun-yun, Deputy Manager. Ah, Section Chief Jaeon. Sorry, I was a bit startled. I snap out of my daydream at Section Chief Jaeon Myung-hoon's shouting. Deputy Manager. It's a title I haven't heard of in so long. I couldn't help but be startled. Then, I remember the face I haven't seen in a long time. Section Chief Jaeon Myung-hoon. Jaeon Myung-hoon. The nephew of Jaeon Myung-chul, the executive director of the company I worked for, SJD Company. He's 32, 3 years older than me, but had already snagged the section chief position through nepotism. I remember disliking him quite a bit 50 years ago. But thinking of it as a face I haven't seen in 50 years, I am actually quite happy to see him. After all, isn't he a fellow countryman from my homeland that I'm seeing again after 50 whole years? It's time to get along well, I thought. Swish. Suddenly, Section Chief Jaeon slaps me across the face. Deputy Manager CO, you bastard, didn't you drive the car properly? Ah, I stand there dazed, having been slapped, and quickly erase the thought of him as a fellow countryman. I had forgotten. This guy is a bastard. You bastard, it's because of you that we're in this mess. Stranded. This bastard. It's when Jaeon Myung-hoon is about to charge at me in anger that Chief O stands up and stops him. Look here, that's enough. That landslide wasn't something Deputy Manager Seo could have done anything about. I remember that incident from 50 years ago. Yes, I was definitely assigned the role of driving the company SUV. Aren't you angry, Chief? Because of this jerk Deputy Manager Seo, we're in this disaster. Where are we now, and where did our SUV go? We're stranded here because of this guy. And then, I remember. I definitely dozed off while driving. But, the reason I was dozing off was Jaeon Myung-hoon. That guy dumped work on me the day before the workshop. Work he had been putting off, forcing me to stay up all night. If you were going to doze off, you should have handed the wheel to someone else. What kind of mess is this? Thinking about it again, wasn't Jaeon Myung-hoon originally the one in charge of driving? That's right, originally, Jaeon Myung-hoon was supposed to drive. But he, wanting to hit on the female employees in the backseat, forcibly put me in the driver's seat. This stupid bastard, we're stranded because of him. Ah, the memories from 50 years ago are coming back clearly. Back then, I was so flustered and didn't understand what was happening. So, unwittingly, I apologized to Jaeon Myung-hoon. I even thought it was my fault. But looking back on that memory from 50 years ago, has Jaeon Myung-hoon never felt anything like conscience or shame? I definitely asked Jaeon Myung-hoon and the female employees a few times to take the wheel for a while. But Jaeon Myung-hoon, who refused to drive, also prevented the female employees from driving, even though he knew I was sleepy due to overnight work. As the deputy manager, I couldn't ask the chief and director to drive. I had to drive for 4 hours without rest despite being sleepy because of Jaeon Myung-hoon. So, Section Chief Jaeon, I have something to say. Look at him, acting all high and mighty. Yeah, since we're stranded because of Deputy Manager Seo, if you have any conscience, you should apologize. I was extremely sleepy, yes. But to my recollection, I drove the car correctly until the end, even fueling myself with coffee. When the landslide happened, I tried to avoid it. But it was too big to evade, and our car was swept away as it was. I definitely tried to stop and reverse the car when I saw dirt falling in front of us. But the side of the mountain next to us almost completely collapsed. It was a disaster I couldn't have avoided no matter how much I tried. Section Chief Jaeon, I understand you're angry, but it doesn't seem like the time to blame someone. This guy, giving lectures in front of who? You don't even know what you did wrong. Sigh, I take a deep breath. In the life where I didn't know about regression. For 50 years, I learned how to endure while living tenaciously. Learning to endure when strong bandits trampled over me and took my money. Learning to endure when vicious martial artists insulted me. Learning to endure when local officials took everything I had, even things I didn't have, to collect taxes. Yes, in front of those I couldn't handle, enduring was the truth. But, hey, what, hey, Seo Eun-yun, you bastard, what now? Bowing down unnecessarily in front of those I can handle is not what a man does. I learned that too. I said it wasn't my fault. Enough is enough. Chief, let go of me. This guy is really, thud. Jaeon Myung-hoon charges at me and strikes my face. But as soon as he attacks me, I step forward and headbutt him. Boom. Ah, in my past life, how many times have I been beaten by martial artists? How many times have I been beaten while gathering herbs in the mountains and encountering bandits? How many times have I been beaten when a band of robbers invaded during a famine? Beaten, and beaten again. During that senseless violence, I learned something that Jaeon Myung-hoon and others didn't have. Violence. Boom, thump, boom. As soon as the first headbutt connects, I charge and mercilessly pummel Jaeon Myung-hoon. Wait. You bastard. I said, it wasn't me. When beating someone, when you hit someone in the face, the person being hit feels an immense sense of fear. The sight obscured by a fist, and the pain that follows in that moment. The terror of the merciless attacker. I punch around the eyes of Jaeon Myung-hoon to obscure his vision. If you don't know what you did wrong, at least keep your mouth shut. With every punch, the grudges I have against Jaeon Myung-hoon without even realizing it seem to be refreshingly resolved. Even though 50 years have passed, the vicious bullying Jaeon Myung-hoon inflicted on me and the company was still unforgettable. I did something wrong. Sigh, By the time an apology came out of the arrogant Jaeon Myung-hoon's mouth, I stopped beating him and looked around. Director Kim, Chief O, Deputy Manager Kong, Deputy Manager O, Manager Kim. Everyone is looking at me with fearful eyes. Among them, Director Kim speaks to me with a trembling voice. Deputy Manager CO, no matter what, beating a fellow colleague to that extent. Yes, you're right, I'm sorry, but I was so angry at the moment. I apologize for startling everyone. And after all, I was the driver, so I apologize for not doing more at that time. I bow neatly to Director Kim and the other employees and apologize. In fact, except for Director Kim, I will see none of the other people again. But, Director Kim, I will stay together with. Director Kim, if you learn martial arts, you will reach the pinnacle of the world. Of course, only in the world of martial arts. Even though I have returned to the past, I gave up on the idea of joining a cultivation sect. What cultivation sect? I don't have that ability. The ability, also known as spiritual roots or spiritual nature. Without it, it's impossible to learn the methods of immortal practitioners or even to sense the spiritual energy they cultivate. If there is something I wish for in this life, I hope I get even a little more opportunity to work harder than in my previous life. In the previous life, after Director Kim learned martial arts and left, he would come to drink with me occasionally. Even that stopped completely after he reached the peak of his skills. But this life is different. If I actively support Director Kim, maybe some benefits will fall to me. To do so, I need to be good to him from now on. Right, everyone is in a confusing situation, and Section Chief Jaeon pushed too hard. Of course, Deputy Manager CO also reacted too harshly. Apologize. Yes, Director, you were right. After bowing to Director Kim again, I helped Section Chief Jaeon up and say, I'm sorry, Section Chief Jaeon. I was too harsh. I truly apologize. You son of a. As I show humility again, Jaeon Myung-hoon, who seems to have regained his spirit, glares at me. But as my eyes turn fiercely cold, he eventually avoids my gaze and shuts his mouth. Anyway, it looks like a forest for now, how about we walk out and find a nearby village? Director Kim looks around and suggests. The sky is dyed crimson, looking like the sun would set soon, and the wind is getting colder. Logically, Director Kim's words make sense. But, in this place, conventional wisdom must be discarded. In a world where cultivators become immortals and fly around, and martial artists fight for wealth and honor. That is this world, and, the forest we have fallen into. I recall the memories from 50 years ago and think of the name of the forest. Ascension Path, ascending to immortality. It's said to be the best place for many demons and cultivators to ascend to immortality. A place where the spiritual energy of heaven and earth gathers the most. There are no villages, cities, or states near Ascension Path. Therefore, what Director Kim is trying to do is meaningless. What's more important right now is, night is coming, we need to start a fire. I finish my thoughts and speak to Director Kim. Director, do you have signal? It seems the signal is dead. I think if the signal is dead, it will be hard to get rescued, and hard to find our location. Since it's getting dark, instead of looking for a village we don't know the location of, it might be better to prepare to stay here tonight. Hearing my words, Section Chief Jaeon, who had been quiet, refutes softly. What are you talking about? Deputy Manager CO, on the contrary, it's more dangerous at night, so we need to find a village. In my opinion, it's more dangerous to move recklessly. How about this? I point to a tall tree nearby. Why don't you go up that tree and see if there's a village or even a road nearby? If there's nothing around, how about we do as I say? Go up that tree. Who's going to climb it? You, Deputy Manager CO. Well, if no one else knows how to climb a tree, then I'll do it. I nod easily and grab the trunk of the tallest nearby tree, slowly climbing up. I once encountered a wild boar while picking herbs in the mountains. At that time, I climbed a sturdy tree nearby in a life or death situation. Modern people don't usually climb trees, but having experienced all sorts of hardships in my previous life before returning, I easily climbed to the top of the big tree. What do you see, Deputy Manager CO? Below, Director Kim shouts. As expected, the vicinity is an endless forest. There are no roads or villages, let alone any traces of humans. Rather, monsters and demons are probably swarming among those trees. Instead of shouting back from the tree, I pretend to look around for a while and then climb back down. Ha, Deputy Manager CO. You're really good at climbing trees. That tree looked about 11 meters high. By the way, what kind of tree is this? It looks unfamiliar, like it's not from around here. Director Kim pats me on the shoulder, and Manager O looks curiously at the tree I had climbed. I dust off my hands and tell them what I saw. There are no roads or villages nearby. Huh, that's strange. Even if we were swept away by a landslide, there should be a highway nearby. Director Kim strokes his chin as if it's strange, and Section Chief Jaeon looks at me suspiciously. Deputy Manager CO, did you really see properly? Are you sure you're not just saying there's nothing there, on purpose? Why would I lie about that? I'd rather sleep in a house than camp in the forest. If you don't believe me, Section Chief Jaeon, you can climb up and look for yourself. Section Chief Jaeon backs off with a face like he had eaten something bitter. I think even if we explore the surroundings, we should first set up a base and light a fire, since it's getting dark. That makes sense. Then, let's look for our SUV too. We were swept away by a landslide in the car, but logically, our car should be nearby. Director Kim claps his hands and says, but, this is a place where common sense doesn't apply. Our SUV is gone. It won't be anywhere. How about looking for the car and sleeping in it? There are a lot of supplies in the car since we were going on a workshop. This workshop was practically a picnic. So, there were lots of camping tools and food loaded in the SUV. However, the car is gone. Of course, I know because I returned to the past, but they wouldn't believe me if I said the car is gone. Instead of draining my energy trying to convince them, it's better to just let them look. Then let's split into teams. One team will look for a place to stay, and another team will look for the car. Let's meet back here before the sun completely sets. I suggest dividing into teams. I, Deputy Manager O, and Manager Kim are in the team looking for a place to stay. Director Kim, Section Chief Jaeon, Chief O, and Deputy Manager Kong are in the team looking for the car. We split up and look around. Deputy Manager CO. You said to look for a place to stay, but how do you usually find such a place? Deputy Manager O cautiously asks. She seems a bit awkward because I beat up Jaeon Myung-hoon. Sleeping in the mountains or forests is dangerous. Wild animals and beasts cool attack, and if you light a fire just anywhere, it could cause a forest fire. The best thing would probably be a small cave. Like that place over there. Oh my, a cave. You found it right away. You're lucky. Of course, the cave I had naturally led them to was one I had visited 50 years ago. In my past life, it was a refuge I had barely found after wandering for hours. To Deputy Manager O and Manager Kim, it seems like good luck, but in reality, it's not a coincidence but an inevitability. Even in my past life, it was the perfect place to stay without any danger inside. I look at the cave and gather twigs and leaves from nearby. Wow, Mr. CO, you're really skilled. Did you do something like Boy Scouts? Well, something like that. Although it isn't Boy Scouts, but rather a 50 years experience in Old Scouts. We can light the fire later with Director Kim's lighter. Shall we gather some firewood for the bonfire? Oh my, it feels like when I went to a training camp as a kid. Right, it feels just like that time. The two female employees chatter happily as they join me in collecting dry sticks and branches for firewood. Later, as the sun is setting. Now, let's slowly head back to the clearing we were at earlier. The others will be gathering there too. All right, Tilda. Yes, Tilda. I head back to the clearing with the two female employees. Soon after, we are reunited with Director Kim, Chief O, Section Chief Jaeon, and Deputy Manager Kong. Did you find the SUV? Quote. Director Kim shakes his head with a gloomy expression. Chief O and Section Chief Jaeon also have worried looks on their faces. Deputy Manager Kong Min-hee also speaks with a tense face. There's no sign of it anywhere. We circled around looking for it, but it's like it vanished into thin air. Logically, if the car was swept away by a landslide, why are we out of it and the car gone? She looks around with a worried expression, as if the forest itself is frightening. There's nothing we can do now. We've found a place to spend the night, let's stay there. We'll continue the detailed search tomorrow. Okay. The six of them follow me to the cave with somber faces. Oh my, what's this? Mr. CO made it. CO Eun-yeon is really capable. Did he live in the wild or something? Deputy Manager Kong Min-hee is surprised by the windbreak and cave door I made. Chief Oh Yun-sok quietly expresses his admiration and praises me. Director Kim also nods in satisfaction, and Jaeon Myung-hoon. He seems unsatisfied but, too tired to say anything, just enters. Director, the lighter please. Oh, right. Director Kim takes out a lighter from his pocket and lights the dry sticks I had gathered. We sit around the fire inside the cave. The smoke perfectly escapes through the hole I had made in the windbreak. Wow, what a situation we're in. This is hardly logical. Quote. Everyone sits with gloomy expressions, seemingly worried. That's when it happened. Gurgling. The sound came from Manager Kim Yeon's stomach. Her face turns red with embarrassment. Oh, that's. Haha, it's okay. We all missed dinner. I grin and take out berries I had picked while gathering branches. Everyone must be hungry. Try these. I picked them earlier. Are these safe to eat? They're not poisonous, are they? Jaeon Myung-hoon, his tension easing, casually asks me. I smile and eat one of the berries. I learned about herbs when I was young. I know what's safe to eat and what's not. Although saying, when I was young, is a bit of a stretch, I had indeed learned it in the past. Seeing me eat the berries without hesitation, Kim Yeon also cautiously tries one. Wow, these taste like raw chestnuts. They're crunchy, right? I picked plenty, so everyone can have some. Watching this, Director Kim and Deputy Manager Oh start eating the berries I had picked. Deputy Manager Kong and Chief Oh also happily ate them. Only Jaeon Myung-hoon looks at the berries with displeasure and lies down first, claiming he's tired. Haha, this is something. We should be serious, but thanks to Deputy Manager Seo, we're having a good time. I always knew from the company how diligent he is. I heard he was tired from driving because he worked the night shift the day before. Our deputy manager is really diligent tilde. Ah, thanks to Deputy Manager Seo, it feels like we're camping. Indeed, we all spend the night in a lively and friendly atmosphere. I too laugh heartily, chatting with my colleagues. It's a night to laugh and chat because it might be our last. The next morning, as soon as I smell the dawn air, I wake up earlier than anyone else. Memories from 50 years ago begin to come back vividly. The first day, after wandering through the forest all night, we barely found the cave and collapsed. The next morning, it came. Despite 50 years passing, the fear, shock, and pain from that time is still vividly terrifying. I open the windbreak outside the cave and start heading out. It's just before dawn. I wander nearby, gathering herbs good for stopping pain and bleeding. The herbs are in incredible condition, thanks to the forest full with energy from the heaven and earth spiritual energy. These are more like spiritual herbs than just medicinal ones. And after a while, the owner of this territory arrives. With a leap, a creature as big as a house. With 3 tails and eyes burning with blue fire, it's a white-furred fox. Shiver. The intimidation of the forest's owner, and the events from 50 years ago, make my body tremble with fear. However, having experienced the future, is an enormous advantage in itself. Greetings to the owner of the forest. I stutter, biting my trembling lips, and slowly bow to the fox. Once, twice, 3 times. It's the triple bow required when meeting the owner of the forest. The fox, as large as a 2-story house, looks at me with its fiery blue eyes and speaks. A unique scent from a human. In my thousands of years, I've never encountered a human with such a scent. Quote. Click, clack, click. I tremble in anticipation of what this monstrous fox might do. That's when it happened. The fox's presence wakes the others. Director Kim, Chief Oh, Deputy Manager Kong, Section Chief Jaeon, Manager Kim, and Deputy Manager Oh emerge from the cave in turn. What follows is inevitable. Ah, a monster. It's a monster. At that, the monstrous fox rolls its large eyes in displeasure. You humans always seem to possess pitiful intelligence and terrible rudeness. Normally, I would tear off one limb from each of you. Shiver. But since one of you knows how to respect the owner of the forest, I will forgive you. The monstrous fox's gaze FAS on me, who had knelt and respectfully bowed. Everyone, show respect to the owner of the forest. Don't just stand there, kneel down. As I shout, the others blankly stand there and then awkwardly kneel down like me. The fox's eyes meet mine. A human who knows respect. I will not punish you hastily, but your scent is too unique. Drip, drip, from the corner of the fox's mouth, a sticky liquid flows. Saliva, one of your limbs. Let me taste just one. Then I will allow you to stay in my territory for a while. Chapter 2. Scattering Destiny 1. Deputy Manager Seo, what is this? What is that? Director Kim and Deputy Manager Kong each whisper. But I am more focused on the drool of the fox falling in front of my eyes than on that. A wise human among the pack, I shall not harm recklessly. However, if you wish to stay in my territory, a price must be paid. One of you must offer me a limb to temporarily acknowledge your residence. Who will sacrifice their limb? Right, since it has come to this. I will offer it. Trembling, I stretch out my left arm. In my past life, when I knew nothing, everyone screamed at the sight of the fox. And everyone was left dying with their arms and legs torn apart, eaten by the fox in its fury. Surviving that was a miracle in itself. But now, I know the etiquette of the forest and have gained the fox's favor. Not everyone's limbs, not all limbs, just one person's limb, only one of them needs to be offered. Even that will be healed by the cultivators who will arrive in 2 days. A wise human indeed. I acknowledge your sacrifice, so I shall taste it as painlessly as possible. The fox opens its wide mouth and bites into my arm. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Ah, arg, arg, my flesh is torn apart by its large teeth. Bones crushed, blood vessels ruptured. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Snap, rip. After chewing on my arm for a while, the fox violently tears it off my body. Ah, arg, ah, I writhe in pain, half out of my mind, and grab a handful of pain relief herbs I had prepared in advance. I put them in my mouth, roots and all, and swallow them. The dirt and sand in the roots get stuck in my teeth, but that's the least of my concerns. The pain is unbearable. After consuming the herbs for a while, the pain starts to subside as their effects kick in. Crunch, crunch, munch. Later, the fox that swallowed my entire arm licks its lips with its tongue. I thought it might taste different because of its unique scent. Turns out, it's not much different from ordinary humans. There's a lot of impurities in the blood vessels, making it rough and leaving a bad aftertaste. I offer this humble tribute. I accept your tribute and permit you to stay in my territory for 7 nights. My divine power has infused you, so you shall not die from this wound. After saying so, the fox leaps away and disappears into the forest. Hua, ha, ha, I chew on a hemostatic herb, apply its juice to where my arm has been torn off, and the bleeding stops, the pain gradually subsiding. Deputy Manager CO, Deputy Manager CO Eun-yun. Director Kim and Deputy Manager Kong hurry over to help me. What is all this? What was that just now? First, let's go inside. I'll explain. Supported by the two, I return to the cave. Then, I mix truth and lies to tell them what happened. This morning, I met the fox when I went out early. It told me, they will find out in a few days anyway. I pretend the knowledge I already have was what the fox had taught me. This is not the world we used to live in but a completely different one, inhabited by immortals, cultivators, and martial artists. Martial world, huh, this is thrilling, hee, never thought I'd experience something like this. Director Kim and Chief O make jokes about the martial world, trying to lighten the mood despite their disbelief. Haha, Deputy Manager CO. If it's about the martial world, I'm an expert. So, you see, Director Kim's voice trembles, revealing his attempt to hide his emotions. Don't die. If you die, it isn't excitement about the martial world, but a forced attempt to divert attention from my pain. Director Kim and Chief O are trying to lighten the mood because they are the oldest here. It's okay. I won't die. The fox said so. With its divine power, I won't die from this wound. In my past life, when we didn't perform the ritual, everyone's limbs were torn apart. Despite the pain that made us wish for death, none of us actually died. No, we couldn't die. But what about immortals and cultivators? At that moment, when Chief O is puzzled by my mention of immortals and cultivators, Section Chief Jaeon steps forward. There are novels called Shanja, not just martial arts fiction. Jaeon Myung-hoon explains the concept of Shanja to Director Kim and Chief O. I see. Section Chief Jaeon, you know some interesting things. I've been interested and have looked into it. I guess he spent his work hours reading Shanja novels instead of working. So that's why he dumped his work on me. I almost explode in anger but quickly let it go and continue speaking. Anyway, the owner of this forest demanded a tribute to allow us to stay here temporarily, so I offered my arm. This should keep us safe in the forest for a week. A week? What happens after a week? We'll have to offer another tribute. At this, everyone's gaze turns towards my shoulder. Their faces are all pale as death. By the way, could you bring me some pain relief herbs? It hurts a lot. Ah, sure, this one, thank you. I chew on another root of the pain relief herbs I had dug up earlier. I'm going to sleep for a bit. Please understand. Perhaps due to the shock, I naturally fell asleep as the tension released. After suppressing the pain with the herbs, I fall into a sweet sleep. It's said that hearing is the last sense to go. Perhaps that's why, as I regain consciousness, I could hear the voices of others. What? A tribute? That's absurd. After a week, we have to offer another tribute like that. We should think about leaving this place within a week. How can we let Deputy Manager CO suffer like this? Deputy Manager CO was the first to encounter that thing and almost got eaten. Rather, he's the first to sacrifice. In a half-asleep state, I continue to listen to the ongoing conversation. But what if we can't leave the forest after a week? Jaeon Myung-hoon asks in a cold voice. No one answers. Then who will have their limb torn off next? Silence hung in the deeper part of the cave. In 3 days, the immortals will appear and kidnap them, so it doesn't really matter. There's no need to mention anything about my regression. That's when it happened. A rather annoying sound came to my ears. Is Deputy Manager CO sleeping well? Yes, he's completely knocked out. Deputy Manager CO, if you're awake, I have something to tell you. Please wake up. I keep my eyes closed and pretend to sleep. Jaeon Myung-hoon checks that I am asleep and then stands up. Come to the entrance for a moment. Can't we just talk here? No, come outside. Eventually, Jaeon Myung-hoon leads the others to the cave entrance. A while later, I hear whispers from the entrance. Simultaneously, there are voices criticizing Jaeon Myung-hoon. Section Chief Jaeon, how can you think of something like that? Deputy Manager CO sacrificed his arm like that. Section Chief Jaeon, I really can't approve of that. Outside the cave, Jaeon Myung-hoon raises his voice. Well, who will offer their arm or leg to the monster fox after a week? Even so, Chief-o, what do you think? I think it's reasonable. ... I don't know. And Deputy Manager CO is capable. He knows a lot about herbs and food. Then let's learn as much as we can from CO Eun-yeon for a week. Though I couldn't hear clearly from outside the cave, I can roughly guess. So they're thinking, since I've become disabled, let's cut off my limbs and offer them to the fox every week. It's not going to happen, but it still feels disgusting. Very, very much so. Should I kill him? Even with one arm, the violence I have learned over the 50 years in my past life is considerable. I could easily kill someone like Jaeon Myung-hoon, who hasn't fully escaped modern civilization. No, that's not it. The immortals who will find us in 2 days didn't come for us. They came because they found talented beings. Chief Oh Yun-sok, Deputy Manager Kong Min-hee, and Section Chief Jaeon Myung-hoon. They were surprised by the qualities of these 3. If even one of them is missing, I can't be sure if they'll come. Should I beat him to the brink of death? Make him disabled? Anyway, the immortals came to us in the past even when their limbs were severed. It's likely that they would come even if this guy's limbs are broken. However, I soon stop thinking and shake my head. Everyone must be paralyzed in their head with emotions due to fear. They are all originally good people. It's just that the situation is too sudden and nonsensical. And if I want to rely on Director Kim later, it wouldn't be good to show too cruel a face right now. It's better to be seen as a subject of protection or sympathy. Also, if Director Kim joins in this plot, he will take more care of me in the future due to guilt. It's rather good. Everything will be resolved on the 3rd day anyway. In 2 days, Jaeon Myung-hoon, Oh Yun-sok, and Kong Min-hee will be people I never see again. 3 days later, Oh Hae-seo and Kim Yeon will be separated as well, and Director Kim Young-hoon and I can leave Ascension Path with the help of a monster. I quietly continue to pretend to sleep on the floor. After a while, people with dark expressions, as if they had reached some dirty agreement, enter the cave. Hey, Deputy Manager CO. Are you okay? Try getting up. Jaeon Myung-hoon deliberately wakes me up. Haha, Deputy Manager CO. Sorry about that. I didn't know you were such a self-sacrificing person. From now on, I'm counting on you. Jaeon Myung-hoon looks at me with a smile I have never seen before and pats my back. I look around at the people nearby. Everyone's expression is dark. This garbage, I see how he persuaded everyone with his silver tongue. For a moment, annoyance surged, and I even consider strangling and killing the guy who hugged me. Endure. Phew, just hold on. Single quote. Yes, we all need to survive together in a difficult situation. Haha, right. So, about the fruit you picked yesterday. Do you know where to find it? Single quote. Single quote. This bastard, so he woke me up for this. Single quote. I can teach you. Actually, I was planning to teach you, Section Chief Jaeon, in particular. Ha, really, thanks. Thank you. Don't worry about surviving in the forest. I'll teach you everything. I give him a sly smile. Yeah, I'll teach you all this knowledge. After all, it's knowledge you won't need for the rest of your life once you join a cultivation sect. Jaeon Myung-hoon, how many times have I told you it's not that fruit? You're not focusing on my words, are you? No, but surely, the one with the split top is a different fruit. Eating this fruit will kill you. Do you understand? Single quote. Single quote. While teaching Jaeon Myung-hoon about herbs and edible fruits, I no longer called him Section Chief. He's learning about herbs while grinning. Even though I am scolding him. I wonder how frustrating it will be when he realizes these are low-grade herbs useless for a sect disciple. No, Jaeon Myung-hoon. Can't you understand? I've explained several times. You have a problem with concentration. Single quote. I get it. Jaeon Myung-hoon's face turns as red as raspberries. Jaeon Myung-hoon is being tormented in the same way he used to torment me when I first joined the company. He must be enduring it with the thought of extracting as much knowledge as possible in a week. Sorry, but we won't see each other again in 2 days. Look here, this is called green leaf deer, and it emits a unique fragrance when chewed. It can be used for brushing teeth and repelling insects. Green leaf deer, green leaf deer. But I've never heard of these in Korea. Deputy Oh Yun-sok tilts his head, looking a bit confused. They are somewhat specialized plants, and since they are not native species, you may not be familiar with them. Of course, they don't exist on Earth. I am using the knowledge of herbs I learned in this world. But Deputy Oh Yun-sok, not being an expert, seemed to believe it roughly. That's right, please continue. This is called blue baby's hand vein, also known as blood purifying grass. Ah, Jaeon Myung-hoon. You're not listening to me now, are you? Single quote. Sorry, right. I continue giving Jaeon Myung-hoon noticeable looks while persisting with the herbal medicine class. The day passes by just like that. And the next day, we have to confront a huge red snake with 2 heads staring at us in front of the cave. Hi, Hyuk, Hua, the others tremble in fear, holding things like branches inside the cave, and I cautiously speak to the snake. Quote. What brings you here? The snake replies. The master of this territory has tasted a human with a unique scent. Though not as much as the fox, this snake is quite fearsome to me. Of course, compared to the fox, it isn't really traumatic. Of course, since you've offered sacrifices to the master of the territory and received permission to stay for 7 nights and days. I will not bother you during that time. However, the snake licks its lips with its 2 heads. If you allow me to taste even a little of your blood, I won't bother you even after 7 nights and days. Unlike the fox that tore off my arm, the snake is quite moderate. Even in my past life, when I wasn't recognized by the fox, this 2-headed snake just came, bit into Chief O's body, sucked his blood, and left. But now, it's even asking for our permission to take some blood. It should be fine. Our bodies, being modern people, are full of cholesterol and fat. Thanks to that, in my past life, the snake left after tasting Chief O's blood, saying it's tasteless. How much blood do you want? A handful. Just a handful of blood. Then, I'll leave. I smile and look at Jaeon Myung-hoon. Mr. Jaeon Myung-hoon, could you give this gentleman some blood? What? It's not like I'm asking you to sacrifice an arm, just a handful of blood. That should clot quickly. Mr. Jaeon Myung-hoon, don't you need knowledge of herbs? Quote. All right. With a flush face, Jaeon Myung-hoon cuts his hand with a sharp stone knife he had made. Drip, drip. The snake joyfully consumes Jaeon Myung-hoon's blood. A little later, there are many impurities in the blood. Even poison. A terrible taste. The worst I've tasted compared to any human's blood. The snake shakes its 2 heads and retreats. The blood of a 21st century office worker, laden with cholesterol and nicotine, is not tasty. Anyway, since you let me taste the blood, I'll leave. After the snake left, I applied hemostatic herbs to Jaeon Myung-hoon's wound. Jaeon Myung-hoon was quite annoyed, probably feeling dirty from being licked by the snake. Mr. Seo Eun-yun, I know I bullied you a lot in your early days at work, but isn't that a bit too much? What can I do? It's hard to ask the ladies or older executives like the chief and the director to give blood. A handful of blood should have been enough for you. Quote. I just had an arm severed yesterday, and I'm a bit short on blood. Even a handful is a lot for me. Kook. Jaeon Myung-hoon bites his lip and takes a breath. Funny guy, he plans to sell me to the fox in a week. He's just resentful because I sacrificed him. Anyway, he can't do anything to me. Well, I won't see him after tomorrow. I think I should take advantage while I can and start to hassle Jaeon Myung-hoon more. Thus, 3 days passed since we fell into this forest. Whoosh, whoosh, the wind has been strong since dawn today. Zap, zap, at the same time, the air feels turbulent. I smile and wake up Jaeon Myung-hoon early in the morning. Mr. Jaeon Myung-hoon, let's go pick some herbs in the morning. Right from the morning. Ah, hurry up. Quote. All right, I take Jaeon Myung-hoon around, searching for herbs. And a little later, oh, I found it. Is this a good herb? Yes, it is. It does look like ginseng. Jaeon Myung-hoon swallows his saliva looking at the plant resembling wild ginseng in front of him. The plant is a type of ginseng called yellow bamboo root. It isn't particularly rare, but what matters is the size of the ginseng. Perhaps because it absorbs spiritual energy, the yellow bamboo root, normally the size of a pinky, is now as thick as my forearm. Ha ha ha, oh, this is incredible. Is it really okay to dig up so much wild ginseng like this? Jaeon Myung-hoon seems to feel exhilarated, but I am chuckling to myself. After all, you won't have the chance to eat such things in the future. Even the yellow bamboo roots that Jaeon Myung-hoon digs up with his own hands, he won't be able to eat. For cultivators, yellow bamboo root is just a low-grade medicinal herb for mortals. Of course, it's used by martial artists for internal energy enhancement. I should give it to Director Kim later. You can try the ginseng later. First, put them here. I hand over a pouch I made from tearing my clothes. Jaeon Myung-hoon carefully puts the ginseng into the pouch. Let's return now. It's about time to head back. We went back to the cave, had Jaeon Myung-hoon start a fire, and sat down. And it was when I was quietly sitting and looking up at the sky. Quagwong, quaquagwong. Suddenly, there's a flash, and something collides in the sky. It seems like a collision of black, golden, and pure white lights. And then, at that moment, kuhook, kuek, suddenly, Jaeon Myung-hoon spots blood and collapses. Ok, ok. Deputy Manager Kong Min-hee also screams and collapses. Her screams echo around like a ghostly wail. Additionally, Chief Oh Yun-sok also collapses, clutching his heart. It's time. A little while later, pot, above the cave we were in, 3 orbs of light fly down. Wow, amazing. To think I'd find such gems while bumping into those annoying folks. Who's talking? Get lost, Bayek Ho. These guys are all mine. Such shameless talk. Hey OGWAK. From within the orbs of light, a middle-aged man in a golden robe, a figure in black robes that made it unclear whether they are male or female, and a giant in blue armor sweet out. Yo, you are, who? Director Kim asks them with a fearful voice. However, they glance at Director Kim and ignore him. No spiritual roots, just ordinary mortals. They're irrelevant to my treasures. Their gaze sweeps over each of us in turn. Do these 3 have spiritual roots? But it's amazing. How did these untrained mortals end up in Ascension Path? Hee, it seems like that fox tricked one of them. From the injury, it seems they offered themselves willingly. Impressive spirit for a mere mortal. Kuong, the giant in blue armor stomps his foot, and a faint turquoise light ripples outwards. At the same time, when the light touches my body, something amazing happens. My arm, enveloped in a sky blue light, regrows. Thank you. I bow deeply to the giant, overwhelmed with gratitude. The giant laughs heartily and speaks. No need to be so formal. For a cultivator, restoring a mortal's blood essence is quite easy. Anyway, click, the giant in blue armor flicks his hand towards the air. At the same time, my body is pushed back, and Jaeon Myung-hoon, Chief O, and Deputy Manager Kang's bodies are pulled forward. These 3 have spiritual roots, shall we see who's worth it? The middle-aged man in the golden robe steps forward and extends his hand. A golden sword then floated above his hand. Wung, Pajijik. Simultaneously, golden lightning roars in the sky, and Jaeon Myung-hoon collapses again, spitting blood. As expected. Amazing. A body of heavenly golden thunder. Move, it's my turn. The figure in black robes, ambiguous in gender, pushes the man in the golden robe aside and takes out a black pipa. Tongue. As the pipa string is plucked, Deputy Manager Kong Min-hee clutches her head and screams. Ach! Her screams once again echoey like ghostly wails. The figure in black robes show a slight smile. Ghostly yin transforming a mortal root. To think it actually exists. Quadruple A. Hee hee, I also believe what I felt was not a lie. The giant in blue armor walks past the figure in black robes and approaches Chief Yun-sok. What is it? Chief O seems fearful, but the blue-armored giant surprisingly checks his pulse, holding his wrist calmly. And after a while, a unique holy body. Can such a body really exist? Impossible. A little while later, the three, seemingly shocked, calm their hearts and then ask the three. Would you like to consider the path of cultivation? The middle-aged man in the golden robe speaks to Jaeon Myung-hoon with a gentle expression. Each of you has the talent to turn the world upside down. It's unthinkable to waste such talent. The figure in black robes looks at Deputy Manager Kong Min-hee with a lingering gaze. Immortality, the power to turn heaven and earth upside down. Immense wealth and honor. Don't you want it all? I assure you, if you follow me, you will obtain everything within 100 years. The giant in blue armor openly approaches Chief Yun-sok and speaks, massaging his body. I am the Grand Master of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect, Jin Baek-ho. How about all three of you join my Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect? HMPH, so greedy. In our Black Ghost Valley, there's no such thing as a missing elemental method. I am the Grand Elder of the Black Ghost Valley's Elder Council, the White Bone Ghost Devil. If all of you join our valley, you can achieve maximum growth. Well, I don't really need those two. Just you, come along, unique holy body. I am the 4th generation sect leader of the Heaven Creation Sect, Lee Chong-ho. If you wish, I am even willing to pass on the sect to you. Oh, the other two can come if they wish. Though different in direction, you both have tremendous talent, so I'll take you as direct disciples. While the three cultivators seem to be giving them a choice, in reality, it's no different from a forced threat. The giant in blue armor, known as Chong-ho, is practically crushing Chief Yun-sok's shoulder. The gender-ambiguous figure in black robes, the White Bone Ghost Devil, is doing something suspicious while making eye contact with Deputy Manager Kong Min-hee. Deputy Manager Kong Min-hee's eyes are gradually becoming dull. And Jin Baek-ho seems to be pressuring Jaeon Myung-hoon with an invisible force, as if threatening to kill him if he doesn't choose him. After a while, Jaeon Myung-hoon, Chief Yun-sok, and Deputy Manager Kong Min-hee are forced to join the three cultivation sects. Welcome to the sect, haha. The elders of the valley will take good care of you. Come, my disciple, let's go. The three cultivators are about to take off with the three people. Just then, Director Kim, who is watching the situation in a daze, suddenly regains his senses and runs out. Wait a moment. Excuse me, can you possibly help us out of this forest? If we stay here, we're all going to die. Are you so worried because you're mortals? Worried about that fox? Don't worry. The giant in the blue armor, Chong-ho, laughs and speaks. We've already beaten all the demons and monsters in Ascension Path on our way here. Now we're going to catch that fox too, and for the next 10 years, Ascension Path will be safe. Ah, no, look here, Section Chief Jaeon, Chief O, Deputy Manager Kong, say something, we don't even know how to get out of here. In reality, Jaeon Myung-hoon is already captured by Jin Baek-ho in a golden bottle like a Pokemon. Deputy Manager Kong Min-hee is completely entranced by White Bone Ghost Devil. Chong-ho just laughs off whatever Chief Yun-sok says, seemingly uninterested. It was like this 50 years ago. Those three were irresponsible and out of their minds. No matter how loudly we shouted, they didn't pay any attention to us, as if we were just insects, and went on their way. Instead of calling out hoarsely to the three cultivators, I touch my arm that has been restored. Well, at least they restored my arm. I sigh and thank Sir Chong-ho inwardly. Director Kim shouts till his throat is hoarse as he watches the three orbs of light disappear, but there's no response. Damn it. Eventually, Director Kim just collapses. What are we supposed to do, in this forest? Now only 4 of us are left. Me, Director Kim Young-hoon, Deputy Manager Oh Hai-seo, and Manager Kim Yeon. Tomorrow, Deputy Manager Oh and Manager Kim will probably be kidnapped too. My time alone with Director Kim is coming shortly. Director Kim is momentarily disheartened but is overjoyed and congratulates me upon seeing my arm had been restored. It's really a relief, truly a relief. Exactly. Moreover, that Chong Ho said he'd catch the fox too. If we only aim to survive, it seems we can make it. I see. When Deputy Manager Seo's arm was torn off, I thought I was going to lose my mind. But even now, it's really shocking to see 3 of our colleagues disappear like that. Deputy Manager, it's truly fortunate. We, who had lost our colleagues yet had our lives assured in this strange situation, sat there, unable to cry or laugh. And then, a little later, like a meteor passing through the sky, a pure white light streaks across the sky. Oh, what? It isn't just that. After the white light, several dozens of lights fly across the sky like a meteor shower. All are headed in the direction where Jin Baek Ho, the white bone ghost devil, and Sir Chong Ho had flown. What is this? Is there something in that direction? Director Kim looks in that direction in confusion, and I start to gather fruits to eat for the day, lighting a fire to roast them. Tomorrow, it will be time to part ways with Deputy Manager O and Manager Kim. SSSSSSs. The next day came. This day is unusual as it rained. Dark clouds fill the sky, and thunder rumbles. With this weather, it'll be hard to go out for fruits. What should we do? Manager Kim looks at us with a worried expression. Especially since Deputy Manager O isn't in good condition. It's true. Deputy Manager Oh Hai Seo is lying down with a high fever, looking at the sky with a vacant expression and muttering to herself. Let's wait a bit longer. I speak, looking up at the sky. Who knows, maybe another miracle like yesterday will happen today. Is that really a miracle? Oh, of course, your arm coming back is really, like a miracle, but... I chuckle and say to Manager Kim. Who knows? Someone might appear and cure Deputy Manager O's illness completely. I look up at the sky with Manager Kim and Director Kim. It's lunchtime. Quirurung. Thunder roars. Cough. Cough. Deputy Manager O's cough and fever worsens. Blood flows from her nose. Deputy Manager Seo, is there any herb we can use for this? What should we do? Let's try giving her some fever-reducing herbs for now. That's when it happened. Thud. Thud. Someone enters the cave. He's a handsome middle-aged man dressed in blue robes. The middle-aged man, with a top-knot hairstyle, has a pair of small deer-like horns on his head. Mortals in Ascension Path. It's like ants getting crushed between the competition of true dragons. Who are you? Director Kim, vigilant, guards against this new figure. The man in blue robes smiles wryly and introduces himself leisurely. I am the Sea Dragon King, Seo Weol. I came following the source of the sudden and unnatural stormy weather. That woman over there is using the spell of the storm. The man introduced as Seo Weol points to Deputy Manager O. Well, it's not exactly a spell, but yes. She wields the power of the storm. It's a strain on her human body to cause such massive events. Saint Stormar. Yes, the storm. It's quite unusual. A human, and a mortal at that, without even spiritual roots, wielding such immense power. She's not even doing it consciously. Truly peculiar. Peculiar, indeed. Curious, I ask Seo Weol a question that had been on my mind. In fact, we've experienced more peculiar events. Yesterday, 3 incredible cultivators took away members of our group who were perfectly suited as their disciples. And today, you came to take a look at Deputy Manager O. Why do people as great as you come to us so specifically? To my question, Seo Weol looks puzzled for a moment, then bursts into laughter. Ha ha ha, it is so. I'm not sure of the details, but there were mortals among your group with exceptional qualities. Masters fitting those qualities took your colleagues away. And today, I appeared, specifically suited for that woman. Is that peculiar? Seo Weol asks me as if amused. Look here, mortal friend. Do you know where this place is? From what I've heard, it seems to be called Ascension Path. Ascension Path, also known as the Path to Ascension, a gateway leading to the upper realm. And in a few months, near Ascension Path, a space rift called the Gateway to Heaven, the Ascension Gate will open. It's a once-in-a-thousand years event. During this time, the surrounding space becomes unstable, and many cultivators and demons flock to the vicinity of Ascension Path. All to ascend to the upper realm. All high-level cultivators existing in this realm would have gathered. So, it's not impossible that masters specifically suited for you appeared. The same is likely for that woman. If not me, other high-level cultivators or demons would have found her. Is that so? I thought that some entity that sent us to this world intended to scatter us quickly. But it seems, in reality, it's just a matter of probability. But the cultivators took my colleagues away. Director Kim, seeing me initiate conversation with Seo Wei-ol, seems to relax and also asks a question. They talked about joining their sects and inheriting their methods, but if you ascend to that upper realm, how do they get people to join their sects? As an ordinary mortal, you might not understand cultivators. Among the skills of cultivators, there is one to shrink large objects for storage. Hearing Seo Wei-ol's response, I am astonished. Perhaps all of them have stored their sects in their storage devices. Their ambition is to ascend to the upper realm with their entire sect when the ascension gate opens. In fact, I have also placed one of my Sea Dragon tribe's castles in my storage device. There are about 1,800 of my Sea Dragon tribe members sleeping inside it. Stunned by his incredible words, both Director Kim and I are at a loss for words. Swoosh. Then, Seo Wei-ol approaches Deputy Manager Oh and strokes her forehead. Her condition, previously feverish and gasping for air, quickly stabilizes. Intriguing, really intriguing. If she becomes a member of my Sea Dragon tribe, she might become an extraordinary being. Swoosh. While talking, Seo Wei-ol picks up Deputy Manager Oh. Director Kim, flustered, tries to stop him but is repelled by an invisible force. This lady will receive my blood and become part of my tribe. That will probably be good for both of us. Since many formidable cultivators will pass through Ascension Path, I say this out of concern. Flash. Seo Wei-ol's pupils slit vertically. Cough. Choke. Arg. Goo. Both Director Kim and I, who previously asked Seo Wei-ol questions, collapse under the overwhelming pressure, finding it hard even to breathe. Do not carelessly question high-level cultivators. I am good-natured and answered your questions, but some cultivators with foul temperaments will explode you like bugs just for questioning them. After speaking, Seo Wei-ol leaves the cave. Flash. Boom. With a flash, a thunderous roar echoes, and shortly after, we see a blue dragon flying in the sky. SSSSSSs. The rain still does not stop. Manager Kim looks up at the sky with a hollow look and mutters. Everyone's been taken away. Now I don't even know what's what. Suddenly a landslide, suddenly another world, cultivators, dragons kidnapping my colleagues. Ha. She covers her face, looking like she might cry. Director Kim Young-hoon also sighs deeply with a gloomy expression. I don't know what to do. We should try to find a place with people, but I don't even know where to go. These cultivators and dragons just spout incomprehensible things and, damn it. I pat both their shoulders quietly. Then, suddenly, Manager Kim Yeon grabs my arm. Deputy Manager Seo, you're not going to suddenly disappear too, right? Don't, you can't be kidnapped too, Deputy Manager. If you're taken away too, I won't have the confidence to survive in this forest. I gave a bitter smile. Tonight. Lastly, Manager Kim Yeon will be kidnapped by a strange being. Chapter 3. Scattering Destiny 2. Drip, drip, drip. The endless downpour gradually subsided after Deputy Manager Oh disappeared. After a while, the sky began to clear. Regardless of what happens next, I'll go gather some food. I stood up, leaving the two who had become despondent behind. Wait, Deputy Manager Seo. Let's go together. Yeah, what if some weird creatures kidnap us while we're separated? Well, yes, and, I said with a bitter smile. Strictly speaking, since they were taken away as disciples or blood relatives, it's more like recruitment than kidnapping. That's kidnapping. What? Did those strange creatures actually get proper consent before taking them? Director Kim spoke with a grimace. Indeed, it was actually a kidnapping. We stayed close to each other as we gathered herbs and fruits together. Try chewing on this herb. It will warm your body. After the rain, I gave warming herbs to Director Kim and Manager Kim, who were shivering in the cold air. Thank you, Deputy Manager Seo. Really, if it weren't for you, we would have been starving from the first day until now. Why didn't the company recognize someone as capable as you? I chuckled bitterly. The only thing I know how to do is survive in the woods for a few days, but I have no other abilities or talents. Don't be modest. It's because of you that we are still alive. You are, in essence, our lifesaver. That's right, Deputy Manager. The two encouraged me with trembling voices. Moved by their sincere words, I could only smile bitterly inside. This is all I can do for you. Right now, I'm like a merchant trying to buy Director Kim's favor with my future knowledge. I am neither a capable person, a good person, nor someone who can be a savior to others. I'm just paying the maximum price I currently can to buy favor. That's why you should also try this. It'll clear your mind. This herb helps with blood circulation. This fruit is said to be effective for beauty. I wandered around the forest, feeding Director Kim and Manager Kim numerous medicinal herbs and fruits. I've dug up a few more yellow bamboo roots. I've also gathered many precious herbs from my past life. And I made sure they both ate their fill. Thank you, Deputy Manager CO. Feeling full makes the gloominess fade a bit. Deputy Manager, you really can't go anywhere. Quote. Of course, I won't be kidnapped. As I wandered the forest, gathering herbs and fruits, evening approached. Now, it's about time. I took off my shirt and lit it on fire with Director Kim's lighter. Good heavens, Deputy Manager CO, what are you doing? The Deputy Manager. The clothes, having dried after the rain and being worn while wandering outside, caught fire easily. I threw the freshly picked fruits into the fire made from my burning clothes. We couldn't gather firewood because of the rain. It'll be night soon, we need the fire. But, your clothes, I'm fine. Didn't I bring a lot of warming herbs? A farewell gift for Manager Kim. I left the two in a panic and, after a while, retrieved the fruits from the fire using a branch. Manager Kim, try this. Director Kim, you too. Quote. Thank you, Deputy Manager CO. Really, thank you. The sun had set. We sat in the cave, watching the sunset, eating roasted fruits. This would probably be the last meal with Manager Kim. While eating the fruits, we chatted to hide the sadness of parting with Chief O, Section Chief Jaeon, Deputy Manager Kong, and Deputy Manager O. Sometimes laughing heartily, sometimes snickering quietly, sometimes feigning disinterest at Director Kim's jokes. That way, we spent a long time laughing and talking. As the sky turned from red to purple at sunset, the sun almost completely set below the horizon. In the distance, in the direction where numerous cultivators and the Sea Dragon King had headed, towards the Ascension Gate. Manager Kim suddenly turned her head. Manager Kim, what's wrong? Director Kim asked Manager Kim Yeon. Seeing her trembling lips, I guessed that the time had come. She had awakened her abilities. It's strange. Suddenly, I can feel everything around me. My senses are reaching out for several kilometers. Manager Kim Yeon, suddenly able to sense her surroundings for several kilometers, clutched her head in pain, moaning. Deputy Manager CO, what should we do? Is there any herb good for headaches? There is one for headaches here, but I doubted it would be useful. 50 years ago, in my past life, it was around this time that she was taken. She screamed softly in the direction of the Ascension Gate. It's coming, something is coming. From the direction of the Ascension Gate, where the cultivators had headed, a small dot became visible. Soon after, the dot rapidly grew and swiftly approached us. Whoosh! Arriving above our cave at an unbelievable speed, it was a giant puppet-like beast. Sitting on top of the sinister-looking puppet beast, was an old man with a hunchback holding a cane. What's this? Mortals. How did mortals without spiritual roots reach the outskirts of the path to ascension? I see. It's the time when the Ascension Gate opens, and the nearby space becomes unstable. It's likely that ordinary mortals got caught in a spatial storm. Kakihi, as expected, I'm a genius. To figure out such a puzzle in an instant. The self-praising hunchbacked old man chuckled for a while and then asked us. By the way, ordinary folks. Who was it just now that unleashed such an immense consciousness? I was startled, thinking a high-level immortal from the upper realm had descended. Is it that one? Leap. The old man jumped down from the puppet and approached Manager Kim Yeon, who was suffering from the headache. Who are you? Manager Kim is our colleague. Director Kim bravely blocked the old man's path. But with a flick of the old man's chin, Director Kim was helplessly thrown aside. I ran to catch Director Kim, and although my back scraped, I managed to safely catch him. Deputy Manager CO, thank you. Huff. Are you okay? You're back. I'm fine. While we were busy, the hunchbacked old man approached Manager Kim Yeon. Interesting, indeed interesting. An ordinary mortal's consciousness should not extend beyond their own brain. But this girl's consciousness stretches out like threads in all directions. It's so vast that I mistook it for the presence of an immortal from the upper realm. The hunchbacked old man lifted Manager Kim Yeon's chin, grinning. Child, I will take you under my wing. You may lack spiritual roots, but with my abilities, I can fully awaken them. I'm curious to see what results will emerge if such a peculiar consciousness evolves into a cultivator's divine consciousness. Manager Kim Yeon's eyes trembled, and she turned to us. Director. Deputy Manager. I said I would take you, yet you still cling to these worldly connections. Tears the size of beans began to fall from her eyes. She had worried about being separated from us, after her colleagues were kidnapped just a few days after arriving in this world. The thought of being separated from us again frightened her. Seeing her like this, the hunchbacked old man's face distorted grotesquely and pointed at us. Kug, cat, arg. Director Kim and I groaned loudly and collapsed on the spot. An overwhelming pressure that made it difficult to breathe squeezed us. Then, I shall personally sever your worldly connections. Now. No, please, I'll do anything you ask. Please just spare them. Manager Kim Yeon, tears streaming, clung to the old man's feet. Seeing this, the hunchbacked old man wrinkled his brow and withdrew his hand from us. The crushing pressure that felt like it would burst our hearts finally subsided. Fine, if you say so. But remember, you are now mine, and you must forget all worldly connections. Understand? I understand. Well, since it has come to this, I will send these two to a nearby mortal's nation through a spatial rift. I'll send them randomly, so even I will not know where they'll end up. You will never meet them again. Forget these meaningless worldly connections. Just a moment. Whoosh, crack, a dark rift opened behind Director Kim and me. Startled, Director Kim tried to run in the other direction, and I hurriedly gathered the herbs and medicinal plants I had placed at the cave entrance. Stop right there. As the hunchbacked old man gestured, we began to be sucked towards the rift. Yun, Director Young-hoon, no. As Manager Kim Yeon reached out to us with a desperate look, we lost consciousness on the other side of the rift. Blink. I came to my senses and got up. Where is this? I looked around, recalling memories from 50 years ago. The musty smell, the noisy sounds coming from afar. What? Rubbing my eyes, I looked around. It was different from my memory. This place was different from where Director Kim and I had landed in my past life. I found myself in an alleyway, with people passing by on the other side. Why is it different from last time? Then I remembered the hunchbacked old man saying he would randomly connect the spatial rifts. It was random. Even a tiny difference could have changed the probabilities due to the butterfly effect, sending me to a different place than in my past life. I looked back. Behind me were Director Kim and the herbs I had brought, scattered on the ground. Let's go outside for a while. I arranged the herbs and pushed them into a corner of the alley, covering them with a burlap sack. Then I stepped out onto the streets. A cacophony of sounds hit my ears. The best silk in Yangguo. Today's goods are scriptures from Xingji country. If you talk about our pharmacy. It was a bustling area. Fortunately, it was a language I was familiar with. I was startled for a moment. I thought I had fallen into a completely different country where I had to learn a new language. Luckily, it seemed I had landed in Yangguo, where I had lived in my past life. Excuse me, I'm a bit confused. What's the name of this place? I've just come up from the village and am a bit mixed up about the name here. I stopped a passerby to ask the name of this place. In my past life, Director Kim and I had landed in Yangguo's Lianshan city. A small city located on the border of Yangguo. The passerby, looking at me as if I were insane, brushed off my hand and said, "Are you out of your mind? Asking where this is right in the middle of the capital, bad luck. Meeting a crazy person in broad daylight. The capital." I smiled as I learned the name of this place. Seokyung City. In this life, I had arrived in the capital of Yangguo. Chapter 4. Director Kim is a martial genius 1. After confirming my location, I approached Director Kim, who was still unconscious, and shook him awake. Director Kim. Director Kim slowly got up and looked around. Deputy Manager CO, where are we now? Here. I briefly explained the situation to the director. After the hunchbacked old man had thrust us through the spatial rift, we found ourselves in this place. It seemed to be a world resembling medieval China, where martial artists really exist. So many things have happened, I can't even tell what's what anymore. Indeed, I wish someone would tell me this is all just a dream. Director Kim's face seemed to have aged 10 years in an instant. I'm not sure if it's fortunate or not having any abilities or talents. I wonder if it's good that we weren't taken by those monstrous beings, or if we were just abandoned. Quote. I had no answer for him either. In my past life, I was just an ignorant herb collector who knew nothing. Even though I had survived comfortably for 3 days with others in this life, it was all thanks to my regression. As a person, I'm not that remarkable. First, we can't stay in this alley forever. Let's go out. Quote. Okay. Director Kim and I went out to the bustling streets of Seokyung City. Seokyung City's bustling area, teeming with all kinds of people, was as crowded as a modern-day shopping district. I can't understand what they're saying. It all sounds like Chinese, and why are people glancing at us? Probably because of the clothes we're wearing. I had burned the shirt I was originally wearing at Manager Kim's farewell meal to use as fuel, so now I only had an undershirt left. Director Kim was conspicuously dressed in completely out-of-place hiking gear. Quote. This is trouble. By the way, Deputy Manager Seo, do you happen to speak Chinese? Yes, fortunately, I've had Chinese language training. Listening to them, it sounds similar to a southern Chinese dialect. I think communication should be possible to some extent. Wow, that's incredibly lucky. Of course, that was a lie. The language of this world, starting from Oracle Bone script, was entirely different from Chinese. Whether it's traditional, simplified, or any regional dialects of China, they won't work here. In my past life, I had to beg and cling to nearby beggars for 2 months just to learn basic communication. I wouldn't need to do that now. But since these clothes will attract attention, let's buy new ones. How are we going to buy clothes? I doubt our money will work here. I smiled wryly and replied. Money might not work, but wherever people live, medicine is needed. I entered a nearby pharmacy and sold various herbs like hemostatic herbs, warming herbs, and fever-reducing herbs. These were the most common and low-grade herbs I had gathered in Ascension Path. Of course, these herbs, having absorbed a lot of spiritual energy and not been touched by human hands for a long time in the forest, were 3 to 4 times larger than ordinary herbs, and I received a considerable amount of money from the pharmacy. Haha, Deputy Manager Seo. As expected, your abilities work even here. Did you receive a lot? Quote. It seems so. Still, I frowned upon seeing the money given by the pharmacy owner. They've really undercut the price. It was because of our suspicious appearance. The herbs were large and abundant, so we received this much, but we might not have gotten anything if they were less. Of course, this amount was enough to buy new clothes. I immediately went to the most shabby-looking fabric store nearby and bought 2 sets of worn clothes. We changed into these plain-looking clothes and stepped outside. The cost of living here is immense. It seemed to be 3 to 4 times more expensive than in Lianshan City. As a result, we had to spend all the money we had. So, what now, Deputy Manager Seo? Just wait a moment, Director. It seems I will need to sell more herbs. I went to another pharmacy and again sold herbs. This time, they didn't cut the price because of our suspicious appearance, but still significantly undercut the price. I once again went back to the fabric store and bought slightly better clothes, then went to another pharmacy and sold herbs again. This time, the owner of the pharmacy, seeing my clothes, bought the herbs at a proper price. For the last time, I went back to the fabric store and this time bought a silk outfit. Dressed in the new clothes, I wandered around the bustling streets of Seokyung City and entered a considerably large pharmacy to sell the yellow bamboo roots. Ah, my lord, to sell such a precious elixir to our pharmacy. The owner of the pharmacy reverently took the yellow bamboo roots from me, who was dressed in silk. In my opinion, this yellow bamboo root must be at least 800 years old. At the very least, it should fetch 10 pieces of horse-shaped silver. Of course. In fact, it should be worth 15 pieces for such quality. Right, it should be. Bring them quickly. I received the owner's gratitude and left the pharmacy with 15 pieces of horse-shaped silver. Incredible. Deputy Manager Seo, is this all? Yes, well, there were still a few more roots of yellow bamboo left. Moreover, the one I sold was the smallest. After buying a silk outfit for Director Kim, I went to the government office, gave a bribe to an official, and obtained a residence permit. Then, after buying a small house and land on the outskirts of Seokyung City, I was left with only 1 piece of horse-shaped silver. Let's live here from today onwards. We've secured basic housing, and I'll teach you how to read and write, Director. Thank you, Deputy Manager Seo. No, that's not right. He seemed a bit embarrassed as he spoke. Now that we're not colleagues, it doesn't seem right to call you deputy manager. What should I call you? Quote. Just call me by my name. Thank you, Seo Eun-yun. We decided on the form of address and discussed our future plans. The reason we could gather such an amount of money so quickly is because we sold the herbs we gathered in the forest. If we run out of herbs, we'll have problems with food and shelter, so we need to find a way to make a living. How should we continue to make a living? How about doing business by selling herbs and buying silver? Certainly. With the substantial initial funds we now have, Director Kim Young-hoon, who is a mid-level executive in a fairly large company, should be able to do business well enough to make ends meet. But that's not enough. Since I've regressed, shouldn't I aim a little higher? Director Kim Young-hoon is a martial arts genius. He became a powerful warrior by mastering third-rate martial arts sold on the streets in just a few months. He gradually learned advanced martial arts to eventually become the #1 in the martial arts world of Yangguo. What if I taught him advanced martial arts from the beginning? I could advance the birth of the greatest swordsman by 30 years. And I would benefit as much as possible from his success. Director, this place actually has a world of martial arts and martial skills. Innocently doing business in such a place, we could end up being swept by the competition between martial sects at any time. Wouldn't it be better to learn at least some self-defense martial skills? That makes sense, he asked me, his face lighting up with excitement. But martial arts are usually not taught to outsiders, right? How can we easily learn them? Hearing about learning martial arts, Director Kim used a term from martial arts novels and his eyes sparkled. I just received 15 pieces of silver for one herb. Isn't there nothing that can't be solved with money? Of course, before that, you'll need to learn the language and characters. For the next 3 months, I taught Director Kim the language and characters while living off the money from selling one more herb. He seemed to relieve his depression from being separated from his colleagues in this strange world by learning with all his might. At the same time, I taught him a breathing technique called Cheonji, Heaven-Earth, Heart Method, a third-rate internal martial art, as a health exercise. And after 3 months, lately, I've been feeling a tingling sensation in my lower abdomen. Even though I just sit at home, I feel bursts of energy. Amazing, I could confirm Director Kim's incredible progress. Cheonji Heart Method, literally a basic internal martial art, focuses not on accumulating internal energy but on feeling it by establishing the foundation in the dantian. It took Director Kim only 3 months to feel the chi inside his body, which usually takes ordinary people 8 months with the Cheonji Heart Method. He has mastered the Cheonji Heart Method. At the same time, I felt a bit of self-deprecation. I took about 13 months to feel chi using the Cheonji Heart Method. This means I'm considerably slower than an average person. When it's only third-rate martial arts, the difference is only 4 times, but as we progress to higher-level martial arts, the gap between his talent and mine will become strikingly apparent. Quote. Well, since you seem to be getting the hang of the language and characters, let's look for a sect to join. Let's do that. Are we going to learn martial arts now? While I spent 3 months teaching Director Kim letters and language, I researched the martial arts sects of Seokyung City in Yangguo. Demon Slaying Sect, Self-Binding Temple, Surpassing Bird House, 7 Mysteries Gate, Wolf Fang Gang, Dark Knight Association, and Dragon Fighting Stronghold are considered the 7 major sects of Seokyung City. I explained each of the sects to him. Demon Slaying Sect, Self-Binding Template, Surpassing Bird House, and 7 Mysteries Gate were classified as righteous sects. Wolf Fang Gang, Dark Knight Association, and Dragon Fighting Stronghold were famous unorthodox forces in Seokyung City. The 4 righteous sects and 3 evil sects were collectively referred to as 4 stars 3 demons in Seokyung City. The demon slaying sect mainly practiced sword and blade techniques. Self-Binding Temple was a religious sect of Buddhism. Surpassing Bird House was an information organization like Howmoon, Korean Murim organization that consists of thieves, pickpockets, prostitutes, etc. And 7 Mysteries Gate had a long history and encompassed various martial arts. Wolf Fang Gang specialized in strong and practical fighting techniques. Dark Knight Association developed stealth and movement techniques through illegal activities in Seokyung City, and Dragon Fighting Stronghold primarily focused on unarmed fighting techniques. Director, which sect appeals to you the most? Regardless of the sect, Director Kim's talent would ensure his success. Without any hesitation, Director Kim made his choice. Demon Slaying. Let's go with the Demon Slaying sect. After all, swordsmanship for a heroic warrior, blade techniques for a man, is it not? Just like in his past life, he chooses the same path as his first martial art. A good choice indeed. The second coming of the greatest swordsman from my previous life. Together, Director Kim and I headed towards the demon-slaying sect. The demon-slaying sect's main branch was located in the eastern part of Seokyung City. Inside the large compound of the sect, loud shouts of energy could be heard. At the entrance, two warriors wearing swords and blades guarded the gate. "Halt, what brings you to our sect?" the guard warriors cautiously inquired, noticing the silk clothes we were wearing. "This gentleman here is my elder brother. He has come to learn the martial arts of demon slaying, having heard of its reputation." The gatekeeper's eyes turned towards Director Kim. A middle-aged man with half-balding hair and a plump belly. I apologize, but at that age, it won't be easy to learn martial arts. Haha, still, let us talk to the higher-ups. Even basic self-defense martial arts would be fine. I gently smiled and replied. Although I mentioned self-defense martial arts, within a few months, they will be pleading with Director Kim to learn advanced martial arts on their own. The gatekeepers exchanged looks, sighed, and then opened the gate for us. Shortly after, Director Kim and I were facing the hall master of the demon-slaying hall, named Heo Beck. "So, you wish to learn self-defense martial arts?" "Yes, if possible, the best self-defense martial arts." I handed over a prepared silk case to Heo Beck. It contained 15 of the 20 silver ingots I had acquired from selling all the yellow bamboo roots. Heo Beck opened the case, checked the silver ingots, coughed, and said, I will admit him as an outer disciple of the demon-slaying sect. If he wants, I can also teach a couple of our inner disciple martial arts. However, he will be treated as an outer disciple. There are no privileges for those who enter through donations. Also, we will only accept one of you as an outer disciple." Director Kim, surprised by the stingy offer, started to rise. I gently pressed his shoulder, stopping him, and replied to Hall Master Heo Beck. "Thank you for the honor, Hall Master. That will be sufficient. As an outer disciple, my elder brother here will join. Then come to the Hall of External Disciples, shortly." Heo Beck left us with a dismissive gesture and went away. Kim Young-hoon, looking confused, said to me, "Eun-yun, what's the point if I'm the only one learning martial arts? If I knew it would be this expensive, we could have just gone to another sect." "No, it might be better for you to learn martial arts." "No, you, being younger, would be more suitable for learning martial arts." "I've always been bad at physical activities. I'll support you, Mr. Kim, with the remaining silver ingots through business. That's my job and my role. You just need to fulfill your role." But, after showing a slightly apologetic face, Kim Young-hoon decisively said, "All right, if you say so, I too will do my best to learn martial arts and help you. It would be lucky if this old body can even learn the basics. Believe in yourself. Thank you." Thus, Kim Young-hoon became an outer disciple of the demon-slaying sect, learning a few outer disciple and 3 inner disciple martial arts as a privilege for his substantial donation. 7 months later, the demon-slaying sect was in an uproar. Chapter 5. Director Kim is a martial genius too. Achieving mastery in martial arts means fully embodying the true essence of those arts. Depending on a martial artist's skill, applying the essence of martial arts in real combat earns them recognition as a formidable warrior. Even if it's a third-rate martial art from the streets, understanding and embodying its essence can elevate one to the status of a second-rate martial artist. Naturally, as one practices higher-level martial arts, the essence embedded in each move requires the enlightenment equivalent to several third-rate arts, making it a hallmark of first- or second-rate martial arts. The demon-slaying sect was one of those sects with high-level martial arts, a well-established sect in the city of Seokyung. And someone had mastered their martial arts in just 7 months. Swoosh, swoosh, Kim Young-hoon's blade sliced through the air. Absolute dragon saber technique of the demon-slaying sect. A blade technique reputed to even cut down flying dragons. It was a foundation martial art for inner disciples of the demon-slaying sect. Of course, being a foundation art for inner disciples meant it was on a different level than common third-rate martial arts, equivalent to second-rate martial arts. Despite being called second-rate, these martial arts were far from weak. As a fundamental art taught to the inner disciples of a large sect, its ferocity was formidable. Mastering its true essence meant, ... He's reached first rate. Kim Young-hoon had just managed to achieve the status of a first-rate warrior. I was astonished, watching him perform the blade technique. First rate. The significance of that title was immense. In any field, those labeled as first rate signify the masters of that industry. Even within the martial world, a first-rate warrior holds positions like an elder or even hall master of a large sect. For a small to mid-sized sect, they might even be the sect leader. To become first-rate in just half a year. Many warriors train rigorously and achieve enlightenment to barely reach this level. But Kim Young-hoon, defying all norms, had boldly reached first-rate in just half a year. No wonder the demon-slaying sect is upside down. Rumor had it that the sect was in chaos because an outer disciple had achieved the skill level of an elder in just 7 months, leading to suspicions of him being a spy from another sect. Eventually, due to this, Kim Young-hoon, along with another suspected spy, me, was confined to our residence. I don't even know martial arts, why am I suspected of being a spy? But, of course, it made sense. A middle-aged man with a bulging belly comes to learn martial arts, and after being taught, he becomes a first-rate expert in just half a year. It's understandably suspicious since it defies all logic. Mr. Kim, aren't you worried? Ha, what do you mean? If they suspect us of being spies, aren't they likely to block our meridians or destroy our dantian? It's not uncommon in these kinds of martial arts settings. That is true. Buzz. He swung his sword one last time and wiped off his sweat. But somehow, I feel like I can see the next barrier. If I overcome it, I believe I'll reach the next level. Quote. He's a monster. How long has it been since you've become a first-class warrior, and you're already feeling the next level? After first class is a peak master. From peak master, one can be the sect leader of a major sect, or a grand elder level strength. In Yangguo, this level is also called the pinnacle realm, and just being a peak master puts one in the fearsome position of being within the top 1000 in Yangguo. In fact, within the martial arts world, there is hardly any discussion about a level beyond the peak. Thus, it's essentially the final reach a martial artist can attain through their martial arts training. To think just mastering some high-level martial arts and in 7 months, a peak master. My expectations were wrong. With this momentum, the return of the world's greatest swordsman could be accelerated by not 30 years, but 50 years. No, 50 years might be too much, let's say 40 years. Such was the insane level of growth of Director Kim. Haha, if you're a first-class warrior, you might be treated as a spy, but once you surpass the wall into the peak, even if you're suspicious, they have to accept you. Besides, Seo Eun-yun still has a ginseng root from what he dug up, right? He continued practicing his swordsmanship while talking. Indeed, I had left a root of the yellow bamboo that I had dug up in Ascension Path. The yellow bamboo root was prepared for when Director Kim grew enough to increase his inner energy. It won't be long before I give it to him. By then, Director Kim's inner energy would also match that of a peak master. Quote. But Director, your sword technique seems completely different from just before. Haha, it's Hall Master Heo Beck's sword technique. Was it the true demon-slaying sword technique? I saw it once, unfolded it, and learned it. Now, I'm trying to adapt it into my swordsmanship. Single quote. Truly a heavenly martial talent. It was truly terrifying. Come to think of it, from the beginning, Director Kim had an unusual stamina for hiking and incredibly fast footwork when playing foot volleyball. Whenever he did something physical at work, he always came in first, which was suspicious. Was this talent always there? Then, maybe our qualities and abilities weren't awakened in this world but were already present from our original world. Then, my regression ability too. It was a conjecture. I shook my head, dispelling the thoughts that had risen in my mind. Soon, 7 days and nights passed. Director Kim had become a peak master. The wall has been overcome. Quote. I handed Director Kim the last 900-year-old yellow bamboo root, astonished. You have an unexpectedly incredible talent. I'm surprised myself. I never knew I had such a talent for martial arts. Maybe it was for this reason that I liked martial arts since I was young. While exchanging such trivial jokes, Director Kim chewed and swallowed the yellow bamboo root I handed him, then began internal energy cultivation in a sitting posture. Shortly after, 3 flowers of chi formed above Director Kim's head and scattered into his nose and mouth. That's 3 flowers gather at the summit. Director Kim's eyes sparkled. He stood up with a confident expression. Now, even the hall master is not so scary. Quote. By the way, when will this house arrest be lifted? He approached one of the elders who was supervising our house. Excuse me, when will this house arrest be lifted? Until your suspicion of being a spy is cleared. All right then. 3 more days passed. People from the sect came. Hear this. The hall master of the demon-slaying hall orders to sever ties with Yoon Young-hoon because there is no Kim surname Yangguo, a spy from another sect trying to steal our martial arts, and cut the meridians of his limbs. Quote. 3 elders from the demon-slaying hall surrounded Director Kim, and a second-class warrior, a law enforcer, approached me. Didn't I say I'm really not a spy? I'm just. Shut up. Tie him up. What happened wasn't clear. Just that Director Kim Young-hoon unsheathed his sword at a fast speed. Shuck. One elder's wrist was slightly cut. That elder won't be able to use that hand for life. Director Kim held the sword with a gloomy face. Unlike 7 months ago, his body, now lean and filled with muscles, naturally assumed the posture of the sword stance he had practiced thousands, if not millions, of times. It was my first martial arts school. What on earth? The 2 startled elders rushed at him, but again, Kim's sword moved too fast for the eye to see, lightly slicing the wrists of the elders. Oh, thud. The guardian who was approaching me also panicked. As Kim quickly approached and delivered a wrist strike, the guardian collapsed unconscious. Damn, he's a peak master. Run away. Inform the sect leader. Several disciples of the demon-slaying sect, who had come with their elders, panicked and ran away. Kim Young-hoon, with a stern face, spoke to me. Eun-yun, I'm thinking of going to the dragon fighting stronghold. What do you think? Dragon fighting stronghold, while being a faction of the unorthodox sect, isn't one known for great misdeeds. It's just a faction known for its strong martial spirit, so it doesn't seem bad. Ha, good. Then, you go ahead to the dragon fighting stronghold. I'll follow after dealing with the elders of the demon-slaying sect and the sect leader. Kim Young-hoon and I left the house, going in opposite directions. I hurriedly headed to the southern part of Seokyeong City, where the dragon fighting stronghold was located, and only reached there by evening. Seo Eun-yun, why are you so late? Ha, you are just too fast, Director. Kim Young-hoon had already arrived at the dragon fighting stronghold faster than me. I sighed softly as I looked at the bloodstains on his sword. Director Kim, who used to be shocked by my violence, now carried a sword stained with blood. Although it's for survival in this world, it is inevitable that we are changed by this world. How nice it would be if we could return to our ordinary lives on Earth, not this martial world. Suddenly, I felt the ability to return to the past was a rather useless gift. If I had to return, why not send me back to that time on Earth? It can't be helped since it's come to this. Anyway, we have to live. I smiled at Director Kim, his sword stained with blood. I'm glad you're safe, Director. 10 years passed. Kim Young-hoon, who had been betrayed by the demon-slaying sect, devoted himself to the dragon fighting stronghold, and was appointed as an official elder of dragon fighting stronghold. Becoming an official elder, he collected even more advanced martial arts, and soon became a powerful warrior, surpassing even peak masters. Now, he had earned the seat of one of the 3 great swordsmen of the world in just 10 years. However, in reality, he always concealed more than 40% of his abilities. If he fully revealed his strength, he would become the unrivaled #1 in the world, the foremost person in Yangguo, and I had no doubt about that. Ignoring our age difference, I decided to address him as Hung Nim. He created a martial arts technique that suited me perfectly and taught it to me. This is the Severing Mountain swordsmanship. It's named for its intent of slicing even the giant mountain. If you master it, you too can become a peak master. Along with the sword technique, he also created Dragon Vein Chi method and Advanced Internal Energy method. It was a first-class martial art, different from the simple third or second-class ones. The problem was, but Yoon-hyun, you are really a bit dull. My terrible martial talent, even though he, the greatest martial artist, personally created a technique suited for me and taught it in detail, I was still barely hanging on to third class even after a year. Single quote. I can't help it. Everyone has talents in different fields. Over the past 10 years, Kim Young-hoon practiced martial arts, and I studied medicine. I studied acupuncture points, acupuncture methods, and medical treatments in addition to the herbal medicine I had learned earlier. Thanks to this, I was able to set up an official medical hall and act as a doctor. Maybe it was due to the herbal knowledge I had previously learned, I was able to progress much faster in the field of medicine than in martial arts. By the way, aren't you going to marry? Well, I have to wait for the opportunity. The rough atmosphere of dragon fighting stronghold made marriage an undesirable option. There were even young ladies who ran away pale-faced when they heard I worked in the medical hall of dragon fighting stronghold. Ha ha ha, I might have to leave dragon fighting stronghold for the sake of my brother's marriage. Are you really leaving because of me? Just joking. Rather, dragon fighting stronghold feels too cramped. Indeed, having achieved the title of one of the 3 great swordsmen of the world within 10 years and possessing the hidden strength of the number 1 in the world, his words made sense. I'm thinking of leaving dragon fighting stronghold to establish a new organization. What do you think? A new organization? Yes, the Wulin Alliance. A group that will unite the many factions of Yangguo and mediate the complicated political situations. What do you think? Will you join me? Of course, I will. We are from the same hometown. That's right, people from the same hometown. We shouldn't part ways. Thus, Kim Young-hoon and I, having been in this world for 10 years, left Dragon Fighting Stronghold to establish the Wulin Alliance. Kim Young-hoon left Dragon Fighting Stronghold and for 2 years, he traveled around Yangguo, challenging and breaking the signboards of major factions in each area. In the 3rd year, he finally succeeded in taking down the signboards of all the factions. He truly earned the title of the number 1 person in the world and established the Wulin Alliance with the fame of number 1, uniting the factions of the martial world. Naturally, he was the first leader of the Wulin Alliance, and I assisted him as the chief strategist. 7 years passed after the establishment of the Wulin Alliance. It had been 20 years since we landed in this world. My martial arts skill had progressed from barely hanging on to 3rd class to comfortably being at that level. Although I had 1st class inner energy due to consuming many medicinal herbs in my position as strategist, my actual skill was still just at the fringe of 3rd class. However, Kim Young-hoon was different. In the dark secret room. I stood as Kim Young-hoon's protector, waiting for him to finish his energy circulation. That's when it happened. Woo Wang. A light shone, and above his head, 5 circles of energy gathered. After a while, the 5 spheres of energy were inhaled through his nose and mouth. The realm of 5 energies converging to the origin. Tuck, woo-duk tuck tuck. Soon after, his body began to twist significantly, and his bones and flesh started to contort. That is, woo-duk duck duck. His body transformed into an ideal form. A complete transformation. Pot. For a moment, there's a bright light, and then a completely different person stood before me. All wrinkles and white hair were gone, and the bald head had grown lush hair. The owner of that vibrant body, brimming with vitality, was completely different from the person I knew. Hung Nim. Ha, ha ha, ha 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 ha. Kim Young-hoon, having undergone a complete transformation, seemed to have successfully rejuvenated. Now, he looked much younger than even me. Truly the best. Look at you, brother. You seem to be brimming with vitality. It feels like you can do anything. Haha, you'll probably get married before me, Yun Nim. That was true. Ever since I was appointed as a chief strategist in the Wulin Alliance, I had been insanely busy, not even having the time for dating, let alone marriage. Hey, what are you talking about? Me, get married. But it seemed like he had no thoughts about marriage either. I've been married on Earth, and the first 3 years were good, but after that, it was really. No, I better not talk about it. Kim Young-hoon was a married man who had been a director on Earth. It seemed he had no intention of ever marrying again, even after becoming the number 1 person in the world, given his past experiences with his wife. But Hung Nim, the world will be shocked to know you've undergone a complete transformation. Haha, indeed. But now, it's time to gradually pass on the leadership of the Wulin Alliance to the next leader. There's no one who meets your standards, Hung Nim. To be the leader of the Wulin Alliance, one must have a certain level of martial arts, but there isn't a single person who understands the way of martial arts. You're just too much of a genius, Hung Nim. It's not that other people are stupid. Still, 1 year after Kim Young-hoon's complete transformation, Hung Nim passed on the position of the leader of the Wulin Alliance to the next generation. I too wanted to retire with Hung Nim, but since the second leader of the Wulin Alliance was facing difficulties in managing the alliance, I ended up being forced to continue to sit as the chief strategist. And so, another 10 years passed. It has been 30 years since I arrived in this world. My age was now approaching 60. As for my martial arts skills, while my internal strength was abundant, my actual skill level had barely reached the very end of the third rate. The Wulan Alliance went through the second leader and reached the time of the third leader, and I finally managed to retire after frantically training a successor and passing the position to the second strategist. After Kim Young-hoon retired from his position as the leader of the Wulan Alliance and traveled around Yangguo, often disappearing for months. Because of this, he did not even attend my retirement ceremony. I saw Kim Young-hoon's face again a year after retiring as a strategist. I bought a manor in Seokyung City and was leisurely reading medical books there. Trudge, what's this? Who's there? Ah, Hung Nim. Single quote, single quote. Why do you look like a beggar? And why didn't you come to my retirement ceremony? Were you enjoying your travels around the world so much? Hung Nim. The man I saw after a long time was in a beggar's appearance, pale-faced, and had lost all his overwhelming self-confidence. What happened, Hung Nim? Thump. He lay down on the floor of my manor, looking up at the sky, and spoke. Yun, I thought I was truly blessed with the talents of martial arts. But you are a genius, aren't you? Single quote. Yes, I'm definitely a martial arts genius. There probably isn't a single person in Yangguo, no, among ordinary mortals, who can match my martial talents. Ordinary mortals? How is Hung Nim an ordinary mortal? You are the number one in the world. I encountered cultivators. Don't you remember? 30 years ago. Those monsters who flew in the sky and kidnapped our companions. Single quote. I fell silent. The cultivators. Working as the chief strategist of the Wulan Alliance, I had met them a few times. They were lurking in Yangguo's political and even royal circles, manipulating the entire country of Yangguo. After the establishment of the Wulan Alliance to control the martial world, they wanted to get their hands on the Wulan Alliance as well. Unwilling to oppose them, knowing that it would mean fighting the entire country of Yangguo, I agreed to join hands with them. With their indirect support, we were able to significantly expand the power of the Wulan Alliance. However, they demanded that martial artists should not be able to harm cultivators, and because of this decree, members of the Wulan Alliance never had the chance to confront them. And, after stepping down as the leader of the Wulan Alliance, Kim Young-hoon went in search of cultivators. Those cultivators are really hard to find. Even if I do manage to find one and try to engage them in combat, they use annoying techniques like illusions or flying to escape, preventing a proper fight. But this time, I finally succeeded in facing them head-on. So, did you win? Quote. I won. If you had said that during your time as the leader of the Wulan Alliance, I would have grabbed the back of my neck in disbelief. Kim Young-hoon chuckled bitterly, sticking out his tongue. In a life-or-death struggle against a cultivator who had reached the stage of chi building, I barely managed to inflict a scratch on his fingertip. He said that even a mere touch on his body would count as my victory, so I guess it was a win, in a way. Quote. Was this cultivator one of the 10 greatest masters among the cultivators? Quote. No, he got up and looked dejected. He said that the chi building stage is considered the second lowest level in the cultivation world. For a martial artist, it's equivalent to a second-tier fighter. Quote. What? That's unbelievable. In both my past and present lives, I knew that cultivators were formidable beings. Above the martial artists, there existed these incredibly powerful cultivators. But having seen his martial prowess for 30 years, I knew his martial arts truly reached the heavens. Not just as a figure of speech. Kim Young-hoon could literally perform martial arts in the sky using levitation. He could slice through solid iron as if it were tofu. Yet, such a martial arts genius. He only managed to scratch a cultivator who was at the second lowest level in their hierarchy. I knew this world was like a shanja novel. I knew about the genre of shanja, but I only knew it as a genre, not the details. I called this world a shanja-like world because of the existence of cultivators. But I hadn't thought much about how strong they really were. The monsters who kidnapped our colleagues 30 years ago, I had considered them as divine beings rather than cultivators. It's unbelievable that a human can be strong enough to toy with you, Hung Nim. I thought so too, but I was just a frog in the well. The cultivators we've seen lurking around in Yangguo are the lowest in the cultivation hierarchy. Those at the very bottom, ironically, meddle with the mundane world. Quote. He sighed deeply. I will continue to confront these cultivators and I will create a martial art that can face them. I must. I have the talent of a heavenly martial artist, like no other in this world, after all. With that, Kim Young-hoon left, his eyes blazing with determination. I was so shocked by his words that I didn't step outside for a while. And from that day on, I began to investigate these cultivators with all my might. Using my connections, I met with cultivators lurking within the Woolan Alliance, in politics, business, and even the royal family. Learning about their world and their ways. The more I learned about cultivators, the more I realized that the extent of their realm was beyond my imagination. Cultivators. Unlike martial artists who focus on physical prowess and internal energy, their goal is to become immortals through cultivation. Even the lowest cultivators were as strong as peak martial artists, meddling in various affairs. As their cultivation level increased, they could control weather, natural disasters, and gradually become almost godlike. Learning about these terrifying beings, I continued my martial arts training out of fear. The dragon-like beings we saw 30 years ago, they were not divine beings but humans who achieved such states through cultivation. Even more unbelievable was that these beings are still struggling to ascend to higher realms, where even more terrifying beings exist. However, I was a witness to such unbelievable tales myself, so I couldn't simply dismiss it as a joke. I knew my colleagues had become formidable beings, but I hadn't realized the extent. They were becoming truly terrifying entities. Haha, the more I learned about cultivators, the more I realized how insignificant the power we had acquired was. No matter how high our martial arts become, cultivators were monsters who could move mountains and alter landscapes. No matter how many times I undergo regression, I could never reach the level of a cultivator. Cultivators require a spiritual root to begin their journey, something those without it can never achieve. Regression might not end with this life, but I don't know. I just thought of it as another chance at life and lived my best. Even if there's another life after this, we can never stand against cultivators. The more I interacted with cultivators and delved into ancient texts about them, the more powerless I felt. Amidst the feelings of powerlessness and pressure, I continued to train in martial arts. Swinging a sword with my aging body somehow cleared my mind a bit. Thus, another 10 years passed. Sigh. As I performed the severing mountain swordsmanship and regulated my breath, I had barely managed to reach the level of a second-tier martial artist. Around that time, I encountered my changed brother again. Hung Nim. The man I met after a long time looked like a wild hermit, with long, unkempt hair and a bushy beard. It's been a while, Eun-yun. Yes, it's been years since we last saw each other. We've only been in touch through letters. Did the information I sent about the cultivation world help you? It did, somewhat. Were you able to develop a martial art to defeat the cultivators? I've completed the martial art I had been conceptualizing. Wow, I gasped in awe. If a martial arts genius like him said so, it meant his martial arts could definitely confront cultivators. Surely, your martial arts must have transcended the heavens. No. His face, however, bore an unusually somber look. My martial arts can only go this far. What do you mean? I've come to bid you farewell today. Hung Nim. His face, once filled with pride and hope, was now completely shrouded in darkness. Today, I'm going to join a cultivation sect as a disciple. Probably starting from the very bottom. Haha, no, what do you mean? For the past 10 years, using information about cultivators, I sought them out, fought them, and developed martial arts to counter them. And then, I met a being known as a core formation cultivator. His story continued. After fighting him and unleashing all my insights, I managed to sever the core formation cultivator's left hand. But he simply attached a talisman, and his hand regrew. Right after that, I was completely toyed with by him. Quote. He said that he admired my will and would accept me into his cultivation sect. After losing to him, I realized this is the limit of what martial arts can reach. Quote. Martial arts cannot take you any higher. Whether you practice for 100 or 1,000 years, it's all the same. So now, I've decided to become a cultivator and walk a new path. Hearing his words, I felt my lips trembling. There was so much I wanted to say, but nothing I could say. Then, a rather foolish question escaped my lips. Isn't it impossible to become a cultivator without a spiritual root? The core formation cultivator said. To my foolish question, came a shocking reply. The stage of 5 energies converging to the origin that martial artists achieve corresponds to the 5-element spiritual root that cultivators are born with. Precisely, when a mortal achieves the 5 energies converging to the origin through martial arts, they awaken the spiritual root. Qualities that cultivators are born with, mortals can only awaken through a lifetime of martial arts exploration. He looked up at the sky with a bleak expression. I was a genius of martial arts, but only of martial arts. After staring at the sky for a while, he got up. I must go now, to pursue a higher realm. Having finished speaking, Young Hoon, my brother, vanished using a movement technique. A book was left in his place. I picked up the book he left behind with a dazed expression. The title was Record of Transcending Cultivation and Exhausting Martial Arts. It was the martial art he developed while seeking out cultivators for the past decade. As I read each page of his insights, frankly, to me, barely hanging on as a second-tier martial artist, it seemed like grasping at straws. Yet, I could feel his emotions as he left this martial art, and his resolve to give up this path and become a cultivator. The preface of the book contained his request to me. Junior brother Seo Eun-yun, please pass on this martial art to future generations, making it a lifeline for them to survive in front of the natural disasters known as cultivators. I read and reread his insights, engraving them in my mind. Though I couldn't understand it no matter how many times I read it. I did it to feel his last will. Hung Nim, you left me behind, where are you going? At first, he was just my boss. But over 40 years, he had become my true brother. From that day on, I continued my training even more diligently, desperately trying to understand even a bit of the knowledge he had left behind. However, my aging body gradually became weaker. Over the years, I managed to reach the level of a second-tier martial artist, no longer just clinging to this rank by a thread. But from that point on, my body rapidly declined due to inevitable aging. Coughing on my ornate bed, I thought, how ironic. It's been nearly 50 years since I came to this world. Similar to my past life, here I am lying in bed, dying of a similar illness. The only difference is the bed and the size of the house. It seems one's destiny cannot be changed. I'm going to die on the same day, from the same cause. As death draws near, I can feel it. This is fate. No matter how hard a human being tries, they cannot escape their destiny. They can only comply. Frantic struggles can make life a bit better, a bit more enjoyable. But one's innate fortune and destiny cannot be changed. If being human means floundering between luck and destiny, then we can only gain something within that space. Anything beyond that is unattainable. But was it really so? As I feel my life draining away, I slowly close my eyes. I didn't want to feel the regrets of my past life. In this given time, I lived as hard as I could. But in retrospect, could I really not go beyond my destiny? Sometimes, I wonder, maybe if I had struggled a little more, pushed a little harder, I could have reached further. I spent a lifetime with Young Hoon Hung Nim reaching the position of the chief strategist of the Wulin Alliance. I grasped all the wealth and honor one could feel in the human world. Now, all that's left is my impending death. Do I regret it? This life was not regrettable. In fact, it was more than fulfilling. If there was one thing I regret, it's regrettable that I couldn't do anything when someone trying to leap to greater heights faced an even greater wall. I am utterly ordinary, except for having undergone one cycle of return. In terms of martial arts, I'm rather untalented. An ordinary person like me, next to someone blessed with heavenly talent, couldn't witness him surpassing the heavens. Yes, not seeing what lies beyond the heavens was my only regret. On a cold but not too chilly winter day, I lay in bed, wrapping up a persistent life where I did everything I could for 50 years. That was my second return.